Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where we give you more news in less time. Let's get started. Tonight, Washington's two candidates for governor squared off for the second debate happening right here at the Fox Theater in Spokane. Bob Ferguson and Dave Reichert touched on a variety of topics, including small businesses and housing. KREM 2's Connor McAvoy live in the newsroom tonight with more on what the candidates have to say as we get closer to November. Connor?
Democratic candidate Bob Ferguson and Republican candidate Dave Reichert were asked what their plans would be going forward for business support across the state. Ferguson says if elected, he would want government to advocate for small businesses.
Sometimes we need to streamline our government on behalf of whether it's small businesses or anybody else. One thing I've pledged to do as a governor is to do exactly that.
Reichert says streamlining is a burden on businesses, emphasizing what he says are unnecessary inspections and lawsuits being the reason why some business owners are having to close doors or move to a different state.
We got to stop suing our businesses so they can stay in Washington state and be productive.
Ferguson says the high cost of housing is a critical issue across the state, affecting those with or without small businesses, and believes it's the governor's and the state's responsibility to fix the issue.
The head of housing is buried in commerce. I'm going to pull that person out and that team out, and guess what? The head of housing is going to be a member of my cabinet.
Reichert says the issue isn't within government officials, but within Washington laws. He says give renters too much freedom.
We need to make it easier for renters, for landlords to evict people who aren't paying their rent.
The debate was sponsored by Nonstop Local KHQ, Nonstop Local KNDU, KNDO, Association of Washington Business, and Greater Spokane Incorporated. This is the second debate between the candidates. No others are scheduled. It's been nearly 40 years since a Republican's been elected in the office of governor. In the newsroom, Connor McAvoy, KREM 2 News.
All right, Connor, thank you very much. In other news, patients at one Deer Park dentist office being urged to get tested for hepatitis and HIV. The Department of Health says patients of Sandy Fletcher Montano at the Deer Park Dental Clinic may have been exposed to bloodborne pathogens between November of 2021 and June of 2022. Montano's license was indefinitely suspended in April after a complaint about improper cleaning and disinfecting of reusable equipment. Hepatitis B, hepatitis C, and HIV can live in patients for many years without symptoms. The Department of Health says it's unable to notify specific patients because Montano is not cooperating with the investigation. New tonight, a Cooney County Sheriff's deputy was sent to the hospital this morning after a dog attack. He shot and killed the two dogs who were involved. According to the sheriff's office, a deputy was delivering court paperwork to a house in Post Falls this morning, and that's when the deputy says the homeowner opened the door and two, quote, aggressive dogs charged the deputy, with one biting his leg. The sheriff's office says the deputy shot and killed that dog and shot the other one after it, quote, aggressed him. The deputy was taken to the hospital with minor injuries. The Post Falls Police Department is conducting an independent investigation. A Ritzville man is now in a Connecticut jail accused of stalking UConn basketball star Paige Bueckers. Police and prosecutors say 40-year-old Robert Parmalee went so far as to fly across the country to see her. He was arrested on stalking and harassment charges at the end of August after he flew to Hartford. Court documents show he allegedly sent numerous emails and messages to officials about wanting to marry UConn basketball star Paige Bueckers, and also messaged Paige herself. At the time of his arrest, police say he was carrying an engagement ring.
What we're talking about here, I believe, is somebody who's mentally deranged and is a potential threat to another human being.
A Connecticut judge set Parmalee's bond at $100,000. He is also ordered to stay away from Bueckers and the entire town where UConn is located. All right, let's take a break from the headlines and take a first look at the forecast with Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Legout. Jeremy, fall's just a few days away, but it's kind of still feeling like summer out there.
And I think tomorrow it winds up feeling a lot like summer yet again. Right now, temperatures are still kind of warm. 64 degrees at 10 p.m. is still pretty warm. Overall, we do have a nice, clear couple of days ahead. However, there is a little frontal boundary moving in, say late tomorrow, that will eventually bring us some cooler temperatures. Really, it's not much. Here it is. Ready? Boom. Tomorrow afternoon, evening. There it was. You missed it because there's no rain associated with it, just a little bit of cloud cover. Next few days, all about the sunshine. Tomorrow, it's likely we top out in the upper 70s once again under mostly sunny skies. A couple of clouds in the afternoon, that's it. 72 Friday, 71 Saturday, likely in the low 70s again on Sunday as clouds return to the inland northwest. But even then, I think we stay dry before we warm up next week.
All right, sounds good. Jeremy will check back in with you later in the show. Now to our night beat with a quick look at the day's top stories. Tonight, loved ones are mourning the loss of a Washington couple who died while snorkeling on vacation in Maui. They leave behind one child and had another on the way. Authorities are still investigating exactly what happened. The couple was on a baby moon trip to Hawaii. Maui County firefighters say they were snorkeling Saturday at a natural reserve when rescuers found both of them unresponsive in the water. There have been questions about whether their snorkeling masks played a role, but loved ones say it's still too soon to know.
The water was calm. There was no out of the ordinary like weather conditions or anything like that. We thought we were good. I experienced a loss of breath. I could not breathe. I felt like the mask was just suffocating me.
So far, more than $100,000 have already been donated to help them with funeral costs and go toward the care of their child. You can find that link on our website, KREM.com. Meantime, the Pend Oreille County Sheriff's Office currently investigating the death of a local billionaire who was found dead at the bottom of his private lake. According to the sheriff, Daniel Reiner was reported missing on August 30th, and his body was recovered the next day. The sheriff says there are no signs of foul play or trauma. They are now waiting on the medical examiner's office report to figure out his official cause of death. Tonight, the Spokane mayor is saying no way to plans to ship liquid radioactive waste through the city. That waste would come from the Hanford nuclear site as it's transported to facilities in Texas and Utah in a rail car or a truck. The plan to send the waste through Spokane came after partners in Oregon expressed concerns about the risks to their communities. The mayor said that waste would travel right through the heart of downtown. In a letter to the Department of Energy and to the EPA, Mayor Lisa Brown said, quote, "I'm extremely disappointed to learn that following the expression of serious concerns by our friends from the state of Oregon and the Confederated Tribes of the Umatilla Indian Reservation, your agency shifted your planned route to go through Spokane." She is urging them to reconsider that decision. And that was your Night Beat. To learn more about any of these stories, just head to our website. That's KREM.com. Well, a grim discovery in the Gifford-Pinchot National Forest in southwest Washington. Human remains have been found for a third time in just 2 months. Authorities believe they located the remains of a Seattle man near McClellan Meadows Snow Park on Saturday. 69-year-old John Hopkins was reported missing in November of 2022. At that time, his rented vehicle was located in the parking lot of McClellan Meadows Snow Park. Days of searching for Hopkins at the time came up empty.
You do get tied to these cases, especially trying to put yourself in a family's position to where you can't even imagine not knowing where your father is or your loved ones.
Hopkins was a hiker and outdoorsman. His death is now under investigation. Earlier this month, search and rescue crews found human remains near the Sawtooth Berry Fields. And last month, in the Big Lava Bed area, a hiker found a human remains believed to be a hiker who disappeared back in 2013. WSU researchers are looking into a rare case of the plague that was found in a blind deer in southern Idaho. The animal was found back on June 9th in Custer County. It was euthanized the next day by Idaho Fish and Game. Pathologists say the plague is caused by a bacteria that lives in the western U.S. and circulates among rodents and other animals. The disease occurs in the deer's eyes, causing blindness. In humans, however, exposure can lead to serious illness or even death. Wildlife officials are urging hunters to avoid contact with animals that appear blind or are showing abnormal behavior. And that was your KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where you get more news in less time.